up, everybody, and welcome back to All Things NBA from A to Z, presented by Ballislife. I'm Chris Persian, and here alongside Zach Noble, we're very excited today to be here with you talking NBA, especially during the All-Star break. So the All-Star break has 1 day left. Games resume tomorrow, including Knicks 76ers. But Zach, it is a big All-Star weekend to talk about. I feel like there is a lot to discuss, good or bad or both. Um, I mean, everyone's talking about the negatives. Everyone is talking about what they didn't like. Give me something to start out that you liked, that you enjoyed this All-Star weekend. I assume you were tuned into all the festivities. Just talk to me about it.
Brother, thank you for opening it up that way. I'm just so sick and disgusted by all the negative talk, and that's been going on for far too long. Just the NBA as a whole. Not forget All-Star Weekend. The media right now. I mean, obviously, even in politics, whatever, negativity sells. And it seems like just with the NBA landscape, this whole no defense narrative has been leading the charge for a lot of podcasts and talk shows, and versus talking about the good things about the NBA and all of the talent that is there that should be highlighted. And the teams that are coming out of nowhere, like the Cavaliers on a 19-1 run, and nobody wants to talk about them. But that's neither here or there. The All-Star game, I personally enjoyed Saturday night myself. I'm gonna be a contrarian. I'm weird like this. Um, it gets overplayed. Like, what can you expect out of these people? I didn't like Anthony Edwards shooting left-handed as a Timberwolves fan. That embarrassed me. It embarrassed the fan base, and it was a disgrace to the NBA. I didn't think I'd be talking about that today, but he didn't come out really shooting left-handed in the game, so Finch probably had a talking to him. We'll take that for what it's worth. But Saturday night, Sabrina, thank you for showing up. She was a shot away from tying Steph, and that was my favorite part. I mean, whoever said it, one of the comment, Kenny Smith or something said, "What if she shot from the women's line?" I think he got too much slack for that. I kind of had his back on that because she shot with a women's ball, like as
Yes,
she should. But like,
but
I respected her. It's her choice. It's her choice what line she wants to choose
and
from.
she made the
Uh,
choice, so that's it. End of sentence.
right,
Why are we sitting here
correct.
from the announcer, from the analyst panel, being like, "Oh, she should have." She tied all the men's players, and the competition
Yeah.
was before. Like he literally watched the men get 26, and then he was like, "Oh, well, she should have shot from her line." She was fine from the men's line. Like I just thought it was dumb. I thought it was pointless. I feel like having Kenny's back there is like kind of just like for the sake of it. Like I feel like everyone understands that what he was saying was dumb, if that makes sense.
But I think she probably would have wiped him clean if she would have shot from the women's line. It would have been
But
so sick
she
seeing her.
already has that record. She set the record in
No,
men's or
Steph's
women's.
record's higher than hers. She has the women's record, but
Right.
Steph's all time in the 3-point contest is higher than hers.
So
Um,
she's got to go for
so
that with at his range.
right.
She already dominated her range. We're moving
And
on.
I
We're
want
moving
right.
upwards.
Yeah, no, it's more respect than anything, but I just still think he got too much crap for the idea
Well, here's
of
the
it.
thing, because he would have been the first guy if she won from the women's line, saying, "Oh well, let's see her shoot from the men's line." So it's like, dude, give me a break. Like
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
he would have been
But
the
it's like
first guy
focusing
saying
on
it wouldn't have counted. Anyway, yeah, we'll move on.
there's counters for literally everything, and that's fair. And I like talking about all sides of it. But
Hmm.
I didn't like the tiebreaker in the 3-point contest. I didn't like that. Um, it was yeah. I wish it would have been done differently. Why not have them all just advance? That would have been more entertaining versus the 30 seconds as they were trained for. I think they could do better with the skills challenge yet. I don't like the
Uh,
twerks they may do it. The twerks, the tweaks.
hey,
They,
yo. Well,
yeah, the twerking,
Ann Edwards needs
twerking
to
out
get
there would have been better
serious.
than watching Ant.
And
Yeah,
why? Then why should exactly? Yep.
seriously.
And Wemby
But
was
that's
pissed. Did you
still.
see that? You see Wemby was like kind of pissed about it.
Yeah, and Malika Andrews is like advocating on Zach Lowe's podcast. Make sure Wemby gets in the game because his mentality next year. Well, let's let him earn it first. versus just getting him in for something he said to Anthony Edwards, who's being a slog. But um, I didn't think Saturday night was as bad as people made it out to be. Like the dunk contest, I mean, yes, there's only so many dunks in this world you can do. Give Jaylen Brown props. I thought his dunks were the judges sucked. Okay. The judges were absolute ass.
They're
They're
terrible
terrible.
every year. Every year, dunks that deserve a 36
Yeah.
get a 46, 47. Dunks that deserve a 41 get a 48, 49. And dunks that deserve a 45 get a 50. It's the stupidest grading
With
system
you.
every year these judges do the same thing. If they were teachers, like they would not be grading papers like that. Like they're like, okay, if something's bad, it's a 7. If it's okay, it's an 8. If it's really good,
Yep.
it's a 9. And then if it's pretty impressive, it's a 10. What the hell is that? 10 is reserved for 10. Numbers mean things. Words mean things. If you say a dunk is a 10 out of 10, and then you turn around, you're like, yeah, that's all right. That was probably like the best. Like, no, no, no. 10 out of 10 is supposed to wow you. Stupid.
No doubt. So what do you think? Just like getting permanent judges or just getting new ones?
Getting
I mean,
serious ones. What the hell are we doing with like
interview these judges ahead of time.
yeah, like
If
a
you got guys like
jurors
Jaylen Brown's gonna
screening?
put themselves on the line, um, yeah. But the one thing I want to say about the dunk contest, Mac McClung cleaned house. Jacob
Dog.
Toppin didn't get enough credit for his one
Yep.
really nasty dunk, but intelligence comes into play. Jaylen Brown lost it for himself by bringing in the below average passer of Jason Tatum in the game, wearing this buttoned up long jacket that you really can't even get loose in and throw a proper pass. And so he lost that for himself by picking Jason Tatum to throw him an oop. It's like, pick anybody. You got Trae Young in the crowd. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's around here somewhere. But yeah, it just that move
Halliburton
really irritated me.
Halliburton would have played with the home crowd.
For sure. Yeah, there you go. Now we're thinking. Any other touching points on Saturday night? I kind
I
of
I
like the Rising
love
Stars from Friday.
I loved Saturday night. I always have a fun time on NBA Saturday night. Steph versus Sabrina should be a fixture. Give me KD Stewie next year. I don't care if it's a mid range. You know what I mean? Like I don't give me a KD Stewie 3-point competition next year, and then set up like Kelsey Plum and Dame the year after that. So give
I mean,
me
Caitlin Clark's coming too,
and
man.
then eventually we'll do like
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark versus Trey, or we'll get there, right? But for now, man, give me Stewie and Durant, give me Plum and Lillard. Keep this event going, make it a yearly fixture, and do it at the women's all-star break too, right? Like, let's get both of my ideas done in the next year, okay? A year from now, do Plum and Dame 3-point contest, and in the women's all-star break, they should do Stewie and Durant and bring KD out.
I like that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I love Saturday
What
night.
about Friday night?
All Rising Stars
J-
is fun, but I liked when I think they should go to rookies versus sophomores. I think rookies versus sophomores is the long term format there. I think it's a natural rivalry for the fans to follow, and it kind of like you saw players try to go out and recreate that Tim Hardaway versus Dion Waiters vibe, and like no one answered the call, no one matched the energy. So, make it a
Here's the thing with
rivalry,
that though.
make it a rivalry.
That game can get out of hand quick,
Good,
and then it's just like the
good.
All-Star game where it's over.
187 to
What?
176. Who gives a damn, bro? Let these young offensive talents showcase themselves. Besides Vince Williams Jr., everyone made it to that game for being a great scorer. So, like, what are we doing?
I'd have to go through the list again to necessarily agree with that take, but I think Sohan was in the game. What are you talking about?
Okay, you get what I mean.
There's a few. I mean, it's hard to get that many players that are solely offensive guys. But I like the tournament. I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm cool with going back to sophomore. Either way, I enjoy Friday and Saturday night most years. It's just you got to have the proper guys for Saturday night. And I thought Mac McClung and Jalen Brown were fine. It's just Jacob Toppin, even though he was good, don't mind the dunks he had. It's just the name, and I don't know if that's ever going to change.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think stars should continue to throw their hat in the ring. I think it should remain fun. It should remain competitive. I loved the 3-point contest itself. I just thought
Oh, it was great.
I thought Saturday night was good. Just get serious contestants in the skills challenge. The way they had it set up was fine, except for 3 rounds feels like a lot. So maybe cut out the passing game. Um, the game that involved the 3 kinds of passes. Maybe cut that out. It felt like it took a little too long. I know there was a tie, so I'm sure without the tie and the tiebreaker, it would have felt shorter. But maybe cut that game entirely. And just streamline the process. And also, I kind of want to say that the Rising Stars and Celebrity game on Friday isn't enough of a draw. Like, could we get it's
I don't
tough
know the
because
ratings for that game.
you
I don't.
want the NBA and WNBA challenge to be right after the big event, so it's tough. But maybe you take the skills challenge and you move it to Friday night. And then Saturday night. So Friday night you have Rising Stars, you have Celebrity Game, and you have the skills challenge. And then
And
Saturday
CJ
night,
Stroud, bro. CJ Stroud and who was
Micah
the other
Parsons, Micah
defensive?
Parsons.
Yeah, Mike is
And then
nasty.
Saturday you have dunk 3-point and NBA WNBA 3-point 1-on-1. I still think the event that would save All-Star Weekend is a 1-on-1 tournament, but these players just don't want to
Yeah,
do that, man. So they don't want to risk it. They don't want to put their reputation on the line for a little All-Star game 1-on-1. But here's what I say. Let players determine who goes. Like, okay, you're
right.
already watching 2 G League guys in the dunk contest. Wouldn't you rather watch like Harrison Barnes versus I don't know, like Zaire Williams at 1-on-1? Isn't that more fun?
No,
Like
I mean
I
it would be okay.
yo, it
I
would
mean
be
it'd
fun. It would
be
be fun. Give me Draymond versus
Zaire
Sabonis.
versus-
Give me
Yeah,
Draymond
that would be
versus
way more
Sabonis.
fun for
Give,
sure. That
give me
would be
Bam. Give me Bam versus like I don't even know. Just make it fun, yo. Make it fun.
Dylan
Have
Brooks. Throw in Dylan Brooks in there.
Dylan
Make an
Brooks
event for the
versus
pest. Pat
John
Beverly can finally
Morant
show up.
1-on-1. Pat Bev versus who would he be good
JJ
against?
Redick
Yeah. Pat Bev and JJ
coming
Redick
out of
1-on-1.
retirement.
In 2007, they did a competition between Charles Barkley and a ref. Like, where's that energy at? This used to be fun. This
Nice.
stuff
There's a
used to be
fun
fun.
fact.
So I think that if you are an NBA fan, you should be rooting for a 1-on-1 tourney. You should be rooting for the WNBA challenge to resume and to carry on. And you should be rooting for guys that want to be in these events, making these events, because it's tough. You can be talented as Edwards, but if you don't want to be there, you're going to stink the joint up. That's it for me now. Now I got my takes off.
They're off. All right. So on to Sunday, right?
I
Bring me
just
in.
don't even care. I don't even care. Who cares? I thought the East was gonna win this year. They did. Whoop de doo.
I
Um,
thought the West was gonna. You just
the
thought
West,
mentality or what?
West always wins. LeBron's old. KD's old. I thought the East would win. They got Halliburton was gonna go try hard mode at Indiana. I had the East winning, and they won, and it's that simple. It was fun a little bit, not too much. Dame Lillard takes way too many threes for anyone's good. Um, and that's it for me. What about you?
Not enough dunks. There wasn't enough dunks. Not enough alley oops. Way too many threes. I mean, that's the NBA in general. I mean, that's what's happening. But honestly, PSA, I just say put your expectations where you want. I mean, my expectations are always extremely low, so they always get surpassed in this game. Like I just go in, I'm gonna watch it, and it is what it is, and not gonna make a big deal out of it. And so it's just fine. I'm gonna hopefully I get a couple good plays and got to see my boy Cat put up some empty stats as I normally do, and
Yeah,
it was all
yeah.
good.
Oh,
No, I love that people thought he should have won MVP. Some people no. Um, Shout out to Cat. Thanks for showing up, buddy. That was you tried hard. I mean, maybe he can climb the ranks if he makes a couple more
Cat
games of
Cat Embiid one on
All-Star
one.
game. So you got Melo, the top all-time. No, I think he got passed by KD in the Olympic scoring, and then Cat ends up climbing the ranks high, just the random guy in the All-Star game scoring. But no, my thing is, I just don't think these guys like it's just trending. It's getting worse by the year. I love the Elam ending. I think that helps. I really do. I mean, I would definitely go back to that. But to be honest, I don't think there's too many adjustments you're going to make outside of incentivizing these guys a lot. And um, just watching this, I mean, one big urgent takeaway I had is like make the awards 75 games now. Screw the 65 game requirement. Make it 75 for these softies. No, just kidding. Yeah, it just
I
drives
like
me.
Jalen Brown
It takes
58.
the players to do themselves in, like the media has made it tough on these players the way it is, and then the players like this is the worst media soundbite from players in an All-Star weekend I can ever remember. It was bad. I mean,
It was bad.
these young guys, these young guys didn't get prepped. The PR was terrible for these young guys coming in, and just overall, it was bad media.
Yeah.
Uh, so that, I mean, I couldn't believe some of the sound bites coming out of it, but
Well,
I just I just keep laughing if I think about it. But
for real.
honestly,
Gotta
you
move on.
gotta find something. I mean, I think the Elam ending is the only chance you got. I mean, Zach Lowe proposed world versus USA, but then you're not even incentivizing players to make the All Star game. But I mean, that regardless, they're going to try hard normally. They're going to try however hard they do during the regular season leading up to the All Star game. So that wouldn't make a difference either way.
People would be
It's not
so
like they're not
mad.
going to,
People would
players would
be
be pissed.
so
Yeah.
mad
Unless
at
you
World
extended the
USA.
rosters.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple stretches like OG Anunoby he had on his team today, and then Franz Wagner. But Franz actually might have a chance making a team someday. Not saying he's going to. Some people really think he's going to. Um, then he said Cat would be on the world team, and Chris Stapps would probably finally make a game. But yeah, I am not for that. Just breaks off the history of the game, and then even counting All Star appearances towards historical reference. Um, yeah, my thing is just lower the bar, lower your expectations. I don't like always resorting to incentivizing these players who make a ton of money the way it is, and um, maybe make it go towards their has to go towards their charity. But is that really going to motivate them? Who knows?
No.
No, the
Anyway.
sound bites I heard this weekend, yeah, they'd be like, "F them kids."
Yeah,
But
exactly. We'll figure it out one day, maybe. But let's move on, man, because for the second part of today's episode, I want to get to it. I'm excited for it. I have a game for you. Um, I know we have some different games on this show, stock exchange, you name it, right? But this time it's a simple one. It's called Contender Roulette. And here's how it works. You gotta drop the bias, you gotta drop the agendas, and of course they're gonna play into your answer, but um the concept is to try and drop the bias and the agendas. You've gotta load your chambers. You gotta get ready to have three shots at guessing this year's NBA champion. So we're halfway through the year, we're at the All-Star break, we're over halfway through the regular season. You get three picks. All right, and at the end of the year we'll revisit this. One of these three teams that you say has to be the NBA champion. So whoever you're rooting for to win it, whoever you think might win it, whoever your dark horse is, gotta leave it at home. Unless you want to throw a dark horse in as one of the three. Because you've just got to tell me who's winning, who's the actual cream of the crop at this juncture in the season. Zach, I'm gonna let you go first with your first team.
And we can obviously have the same teams, right?
Of course, of course. It's not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
draft.
All right. So I'm just gonna go with the team with the best odds, in my opinion, and it's been this way all year. I've had them number one. Make no surprise about it, but the Boston Celtics. Um, they got the highest odds in Vegas right now at plus 230, which are just crazy,
Yeah,
crazy
that's
low
nuts.
odds.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's nuts. Why would
it's
anyone
yeah,
take that?
right. They're basically, I mean, negative at this point. But
Yeah, what the hell?
best record by a long shot. My thing is, I think I'm not worried about their bench anymore. It's Chris Stapps. Is he going to be healthy enough? Drew Holiday. Everybody else, I think I'm not too worried about. But I mean, Drew's been relatively healthy all year. Chris Stapps has missed a bunch of games. So I'd say Chris Stapps is really the only question mark for me. But no, I feel pretty good about this team. Xavier Tillman should help. I don't think Jared Springer is going to do a whole lot, but I think they got enough on the bench.
Who?
Jaden Springer, sorry.
There you go.
You're
um,
correcting me on freaking Jaden Springer, the 13th
he's
man.
good.
Won't even make the run. Just
He's
oh,
good.
okay.
He's good. He can
What do you
play.
think he's gonna do? You think
Defend.
he's gonna play?
Defend the ball. No, I don't think he'll
Yes.
play in the playoffs, but I think he's good depth to have, a nice project for them. Someone for Derek White to
Project.
raise as his new son.
I do
Um,
like that.
so yeah. Listen,
New
man,
son.
I won't cut I won't cut a promo here just to reveal that I also have the Celtics. I'm gonna just give it to you straight. The Boston Celtics are in my top three as well. I think that's really simple for anyone who's watched them play thus far this season. For me, the reason is this simple. I think you could argue Porzingis, White, Tatum, and Brown have all played at all-star levels this season. And that means they got dudes. They got guys. And in the NBA, everyone can shoot, everyone can defend, everyone can rebound, everyone can do everything, especially score nowadays. It's about how many different looks you can throw at teams. What's your lineup versatility look like? Well, Kristaps Porzingis at the five, you've got probably the NBA's only true elite stretch five big. And that to me is a huge step in the direction of terrorizing playoff matchup versatility. So for me, the Boston Celtics are right at the top of that list. I don't know if I would have them as such a strong favorite the way Las Vegas does, but they're in my top three. Zach, who you got as team number two? Of course, does not have to be in order.
Okay, just a sidebar as I was looking up
Oh, go
recent
ahead.
stats on the Celtics. This blew my mind. So top defensive rating the last 6 games. Who would you guess it? So random. It's just 6 games, I know.
Jazz.
No, the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh,
I would never,
Lively's back.
yes, but like a backcourt of Luca and Kyrie Irving. I mean, come on.
Everyone
And
scores nowadays, and the Knicks have had a million injuries, so it wasn't going to be them.
wow, act so
Otherwise, it would have been
surprised.
them because they're nice.
Act so surprised, would you? Yeah, Timberwolves number 2 in that stretch, but I mean, it is only
That's
six
not
games. I want
surprising
to.
for sure.
Oh,
Timberwolves,
definitely not. But I want to see
doggity
Dallas do
dogs.
it. If Dallas does that much longer, they might be in this actual real contender conversation. If they can find a way to finish as a top 10 defense, yeah, they'll be in there. You're agreeing to that?
Yeah, yeah,
If they
they're good.
okay, right on.
Your
All right,
second team, sir.
my second team. This is where it gets tricky. That was the only surefire team for me, but I'm sticking with the Denver Nuggets. I think.
Okay, they are not in my three.
Wow. Okay, yeah, throw that out there right now. Yeah, my opinion hasn't changed on them at all. It's just the only thing that's really surprised me about them all year is I thought Jamal Murray would be a little better in the regular season, but I'm sure he'll pop off in the playoffs once again. And he hasn't been bad. He's just been rock solid. It's just I thought he'd take a big statistical jump this year. Unfortunately, he hasn't. So why the hell are they not in this?
So
Don't
for me,
look.
I think at first thought the Nuggets are like the Chiefs, right? Everyone wrote them off. Everyone's saying they're not going to repeat. No one's going to repeat. No one's ever repeating. The Nuggets are worse this year than last year. Chiefs are worse this year than last year. They don't have it, but they still have the top dog in the league, and
Yep.
that means they have it. The thing with me, the difference between Denver and Kansas City is I genuinely think that the NBA is so about those margins, man. And for me, I don't think Denver has that same hunger anymore. Guys like KCP, Michael Porter Jr., like they've won. I don't know if they care as much as they did last year to do it again. And so while Mahomes and the Chiefs had something to prove to themselves, kind of in the sense of like, we are good without Tyreek, then they had to prove to themselves um that they're good at all, this past season. I think the Nuggets don't have as much to prove. I think Jokic proved what he had to prove, which was yes, he can do it. Yes, it can be conducive to winning. Yes, he's top dog. And so for me, I don't have Denver as having that chip on their shoulder the way that the three teams that I have as my on my list have a chip on their shoulder to win the chip.
Do you think it's the whole team that have that mentality right now, or do you think it's
No,
certain players?
no, I just think two players in a rotation is enough for that to matter. And they're at three, maybe they're at four,
Who are
maybe
you calling out?
I'm not calling anyone out, but
Come on.
I would think Michael Porter Jr. I would think
There we go.
certain guys aren't as motivated this season to go out and Jokic himself too. I think he's probably not too
Come
motivated this
on.
season to go and prove any narratives wrong. He's won at the highest level in the best league in the world. That's all. I don't think he's checked out, but I think in the immediate season after, you see that Super Bowl hangover. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm not saying Jokic, you should write
All
him
right.
off.
So
My
I,
second
I
team, if you want me to
no, just
give
wait.
it, all right, go.
I want to talk on the Nuggets a second. Man, I mean, they've just been rock solid. I mean, yes, I'd agree with Michael Porter Jr., but then when you bring in Jokic, he's been incredible all year. I mean, he's been carrying this team. Everybody else has been somewhat inconsistent, even though I think Jamal has been consistent at the level he has, just hasn't been too dominant enough. He hasn't had any huge games pop off like I thought he would. Michael Porter Jr. hasn't taken a leap. I thought he'd be more motivated to take a leap, and I think he's just kind of okay with his role, and it is what it is for him. I don't know if it's just mental. I mean, he's just relaxed. I mean, I'm not going to say Contavious Caldwell Pope isn't grinding like he did last year. I mean, Reggie Jackson's still grinding. Um, Christian Braun hasn't taken the leap necessarily, I would have thought, but he's been fine. Like, nobody's been bad. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is the only one I'd say has been pretty inconsistent throughout the year. Um, Aaron Gordon, I mean, up and down. I mean, defense probably declined a little bit, but then you look at this. Their defense is way better than where it was all of last year. They're a top 5 defense right now. I Where's that coming from? I think it's just connectivity. They know what they're doing in their rotations. They know how to play together. But
Yeah, they're very
offensively, I think,
comfortable.
yeah, offensively, it's just I think that's where they're getting relaxed. And it's hard to figure out because offense, they were a top 5 offense last year and like a top 15 defense, where this year they're a top 15 offense and a top 5 defense.
Doesn't it sound like Kansas City
So
like a lot, dude?
yeah, yeah, it was a great reference point. And um Jokic has been way better than Mahomes though all year. Way better.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
Mahomes was pretty bad during the regular season this year, and then the playoffs he's just peaked Mahomes again. And so that's what I'm not worried about. But what can what can flip the switch for you to make them? What do you got to see? Whether
I
it's
got to
the
see
first
them.
round of the playoffs,
I just if they boat race the rest of the regular season, like if they're firing on all cylinders, I'm
you
in.
need to see in the regular season.
Yeah, because I think that at this point the NBA has so incentivized not caring in the regular season, and teams like Miami will always jump out at you in the playoffs. That for me, if Denver shows that they care about it now, I'll be in because I'm like, yo, these guys want it again. They want it again.
Fair. All right, who's your team number 2?
Team number 2 for me, I'm going with, it's not like just because I don't have Denver doesn't mean I'm not trusting the top dogs in the NBA. And this time I'm going with someone who a lot of people would say is back to being one of the top guys in the NBA, but I think he was never not one of the top guys in the NBA. It's Kawhi Leonard and his team, obviously, the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm in, man. I told you when they
Love it.
got Harden, I was in. And for me, being in on a Harden team, very uncharacteristic. Okay.
Well, you've been a
So
Harden guy.
I like him, but I'm never like really bullish on his team's championship successes. And I feel like that's always remains true. So for me, buying in on the Clippers when they got him, even before they got him, was a matter of trusting that they'd get him, trusting that he'd fit. And I think for Harden at this point, he knows he's got to fit with the Clippers because if he doesn't, that's 3 straight teams he forced his way to and then out of.
Yeah. I do think the Brooklyn Nets are the only real contender Harden's ever been on, and I've always said this. The
The
one
Clippers are legit.
no. Until this team.
Oh, okay.
Until this
Okay.
team. That's why what you said is
Houston
a
was a
fair.
contender. That team that
They were
missed
the second
27
best.
straight threes
They
was
would be a
really
real
good.
contender. That the Warriors were still the greatest team of all time, in my opinion. And Chris Paul injury. I mean, I was always waiting for a Chris Paul injury, and they didn't have enough backup there. So that's why I didn't necessarily. Yes, at their peak, they were a real contender, but I just didn't ever believe in it to that point. Where I get people who did, I just personally
Okay.
did not.
Totally fair.
And
Totally fair.
so that Nets team, I believed it because that first round Celtics was incredible. The stat lines, go back and look at the stat lines those three put up. Now this team, I believe, yes. I'm torn right now to put them in here or not. I was playing ping pong in my head this whole time, going them and one other team, and I'm still that way because it's Kawhi's been missing some games, and Paul George has been playoff P,
They've played
pandemic P,
so
way
many. They've played so many games. It's fine. It'll be fine.
the crazy thing about the Clippers is Kawhi's missed a ton of games. Paul George has been a roller coaster, and yet they're so dominant every night. Every night, because they got guys that they will step up when the other guy's down, and it will get them through a first round series if they keep playing this way. If they're playing as good as they are right now, it'll get them through a first round series, and there's a great chance it could still get them through a second round series with or without one of the big three, whether it's Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. Um, Norman Powell's been that good. Norman Powell staying here.
You
Zubac.
love him, man. You
And
are
no, but
ridiculous with Norman
the
Powell.
emergence of Amir Coffey, he might be the most underrated player in the
Two
league right
years
now.
ago,
Amir Coffey.
I thought he was a decent player, and no one gave a shit.
No, I've always been high on Amir Coffey.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was high on him coming out. I'm a Minnesota guy here, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's not get it twisted. Okay, so I just hope they keep him in the rotation. I think that's very critical. Do I think the Clippers have the highest ceiling? So it's to me, it's between the Bucks and the Clippers, okay? And the Danilo Gallinari pickup is honestly maybe what's swaying me here.
Does not move
Um,
the needle for me at all.
does does a 3-point contest and an MVP fuel Dame to get back to peak form and
Hell
rally
no.
the troops? Yeah, I man, screw it, screw it. Going with the Clippers.
Thank
Going with the
you.
Clippers.
Glenn Rivers,
I'm gonna.
man. You're putting your eggs in Glenn Rivers basket.
Nuggets will be our disagreement, and we'll watch that play out. But man, that's tough to leave out those Bucks with just getting Pat Bev and Danilo Gallinari. You know why I'm going like you know what? Doc Rivers 3-7 is what made me say goodbye. And Dame not putting Giannis in his top NBA dream starting lineup in the NBA. The fact that he left Giannis out of there, like that's telling to me, man. Like call me petty, call me whatever, but that shit matters. He is not bought in yet. Crazy how many games they've won. Crazy the
I'm
success
with you
they've
there,
had.
man. I think that stuff matters nowadays. I think everything's on purpose. These guys think they're sneaky. LeBron putting on a Knicks towel after the game. Like he thinks he's sneaky, man. We all knew what that was about. Um, they think they're slick. They're not slick. So that's what we got.
Prove
For
me
me,
wrong, Doc. Prove me wrong. It's on you.
before I give my third team, I want to throw out a wild card. Um, a complete wild card. Boston plus 230, Denver plus 440, the Clippers plus 500. We've now talked about the top three teams odds wise, and it makes sense based on the nature of this game we're playing. But I want to throw out one crazy lob, and that's at
The Knicks.
5,000. The Golden State Warriors plus
Oh,
5,000
what?
plus 5,000. You want to talk
I'm
about the
dizzy.
the
Explain.
Kansas City narrative? No one thinks they'll do it, even though they've got one of the top guys in the sport or the top guy in the sport, a guy who's changing the sport. You name it. Um,
Not the top guy, dude. And I'm a
Golden
Steph
State
guy through and
has
through.
Steph Curry, who is so ridiculous at basketball and gives you a chance in any game despite being a small guard. It's indicative of his gravity, of his ability to warp a basketball court. And with the emergence of Jonathan Kuminga, he's got a real wing player now to complement himself, Draymond Green, and his new addition to the bench, the ever so newly malleable Klay Thompson. I think
Those
this team might pull with Clay on the bench now. I think this team might pull something together. If by the end of the season their odds are around 2,300 to 2,500, you're welcome for telling you to get them at plus
I
5,000.
do think they make the play in, and I do believe if everybody keeps trending and can get back to like can keep going where I envision them to. I just don't know if like I think that's where they don't become a contender. I still don't. Looney proves me wrong all the time, all the time. The, Trace Jackson Davis, I don't think is cracking this playoff lineup, and I don't think he's gonna be the guy to handle it. Like Looney, really? Is Looney gonna? Yeah, I don't know. I Looney against Jokic, Looney against. I mean, I think the Warriors can easily beat the Timberwolves. But Looney against Gobert and Cat, I mean, that's only real tough Looney matchups. And then Giannis, obviously, in the finals. But um, he might not even need to play Giannis. He might not need to play the Timberwolves. So it might not matter. But here's my question for you: is Kaminga Pacheco or is he Rashi Rice here?
Rice, he's legit.
Okay, and then
Pacheco,
Pods Pacheco.
oh boy, I
Clay
guess
Thompson is Kelsey, man. He is for sure.
I guess storyline wise, Pods is Rice and Kuminga's Pacheco, but nah, you know how it is. I think that the Warriors have the talent. I think they've got the coach. It to me, it's not far fetched. That's all. It's
All
not
right.
plus 5,000 far fetched.
So who's your team three?
Okay, so for my third team, I've already covered two teams that I think have a fantastic shot at being the champion. That means I gave you a total dark horse, but
Can I
I
guess?
I go ahead.
Can I just throw it out there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you're going with the Phoenix Suns.
I thought about it. The team I weighed most
Whoa.
heavily for this spot was the Minnesota Timberwolves. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
in my guttiest of guts, I thought Ant doesn't have the experience for that. And for the same reason I write off the Thunder, I'm going to write off Minnesota right now in favor of the New York Knicks, who to me at the deadline have not had an opportunity to show the impact of their acquisitions. This is a dark horse pick. This is a plus 2,100 team to win the championship that I think by the end of the regular season will be around plus 1,200 to plus 1,100. It'll not be a huge favorite play, but it will be something that does not seem like such a plus 2100 long shot, because when Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks get acclimated into a fully healthy rotation, they've been missing Anunoby, Randall, and Robinson for the last month, and that's not lost on me when you take a look at how good they were prior to their trade deadline acquisitions. Now, you take a look in between the Anunoby deal and the injuries, this team was 12-2. All right. So that's stellar basketball. And for me, it comes down to, if these trade deadline acquisitions mesh in this season, yes, the team still has all their draft picks. Yes, they're still going to make a run at a star this summer, but they might just mess around and win it this year. They're a little bit of a long shot right now, but I think by the end of the season, they won't be. I'm going Celtics, Clippers, Knicks.
I think the Knicks, I'd give them like a 30% chance of coming out of the East. If I were to split the pie up, I'd go, I'd go really high. So it wouldn't even equal up. But I mean, Celtics would be 70 for me. No, 60, 70. Okay, I'll go 60, 20, 20 for the Bucks, and then I'll go 10 to the Knicks, and then 5 to the Cavs, and then split up the other 5 some other way. But that's still a long ways away for me to believe that the Knicks are like, I think they have what it takes in their team if they can over like I gotta see the Julius Randle getting benched or performing with Boyan coming in and OG performing in the playoffs, something like that dynamic for me. I just can't get over Julius Randle being good enough, consistent enough in the playoffs. But I think this team is deep enough and can overcome that now against basically everybody besides the Bucks and Celtics. Like, but I don't think it's impossible. So that's what I'm trying to say here. And
It's basically,
okay,
if the Celtics don't win, I'm very big on the Celtics, right? So it's like,
yeah.
if the Celtics don't win the East, who's winning the championship? It's Denver, Los Angeles, or the Knicks to me. Those are the biggest players. So I left Denver out of my 3 because I didn't think they had the edge the way that Boston has the edge to go get one, the way that the Clippers have the edge to go get one, Harden and PG and
There you
Kawhi
go. That's the answer
proving
I was looking
himself.
for.
And and I don't think that the Nuggets have the edge the way that the Knicks have the edge to go get one. So for me, I think that was my deciding, like my tie-breaking factor. It came down to 4 teams for me, and it was really tough to eliminate Denver, but I eliminated the team that I think has the least bit of chip on their shoulder.
Why the Knicks over the Bucks?
For me, the Milwaukee Bucks have been a mess. I think Dame Lillard is really good at basketball. I don't think he's someone who you can just wash away all the flaws you see with. Him and Giannis are really good, but are they good enough to seriously go out there and win a 7-game series against anybody? I don't think I see them as being that level of good this season. They're good enough to show it in the game. Like when we get there, they might just do it, right? But I think going into whatever series against a legit powerhouse, they're going to be underdogs against the Celtics, against teams like that.
Give me an NBA champion, or just a team that's made it outside of the Miami Heat that you could kind of compare the Knicks or would see a Knicks run
The
similar
04
to it.
the 04 Pistons. It would be a team effort predicated on defense and physicality.
And I definitely think Jalen Brunson is better than anybody on that team,
He's the Billups.
but better,
Yes.
but better.
Yes.
Mm.
He's really good. He's been crazy
And,
good this season.
and
He's a top 5 MVP candidate in the 2024 National Basketball Association.
there's
Even
a take.
even Kenny Smith, who was so loud and so confident that the Knicks never have the best player in any game they play against any of the 29 other teams, because the Magic have Paolo, and because it was just like such a crazy thing to say. Now he's like, yeah, Brunson's top 5 MVP. So even the craziest doubters, even the most ridiculous takesmen, are now becoming takesmen of the present and of the future as opposed to of the past.
Wow, I like that. I like that. Okay, that's gonna be fun.
Say your three teams again.
Boston, Denver, the Clippers.
I've got Boston, Clippers, and Knicks. Timberwolves almost made it. My dark horse shout out, the Golden State Warriors. For the listeners at home, thank you guys so much. This was really fun. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks. If you're listening, watch on YouTube. You get to see us laugh and smile and frown and make funny faces when the other has a take that we hate. I think it's a blast to watch these on YouTube. And when I watch them back as I produce these episodes, I find myself laughing at your jokes a second time or laughing at my own joke. Like, it's just a fun time. So if you enjoy all things NBA, keep rocking with us. We're back. I was on the road covering the Super Bowl, broadcasting Florida basketball games up in Olean, New York, down in North Carolina, all over the place in the middle of nowhere in big cities, from Las Vegas to Olean, you name it. We're back. We're back releasing weekly episodes or more. And we'll see you next time right here on All Things NBA from A to Z, presented by Ballislife. For Zach Noble, I'm Kris Zak, signing off.